Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. Now, I literally just tweeted this out a little while ago, but it applies so much to this that I think it's the perfect way to open this video. If you are a fan of Greek mythology, specifically Greek god mythology, if you are a fan of badass animated television, and or if you are a fan of the Castlevania series on Netflix, what we're about to talk about is so for you. Specifically, if you are all three of those things, much like myself. So let's not waste any more time. Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free, into Netflix's newest anime addition to its catalog, The Blood of Zeus. And, I mean, if you're just looking at the image behind me, just looking at that, you're like, that looks like a freaking badass show. And if you are a fan of Greek mythology, it gives you all the wonderful things that you can get from that. Specifically, its rich history of god characters. This show is really, really freaking cool. And it comes to us from Powerhouse Animation Studios, which is the same animation studio that does the Castlevania show. And what's cool here is I love that Castlevania show. I think it's really, really awesome. And what Blood of Zeus feels like is it feels like it took what it's done with Castlevania and said, we can do something even bigger, even better. And they really find their peak in the things that they could do with that show with Blood of Zeus. And the thing that drives this more than anything else is its original story. Right at the beginning, the show posits itself as a Greek epic that's been lost to all of time and has now finally been found. And that allows the show to create a story that's completely unique, completely original, so that it can play with all of the Greek mythology and specifically, like I said, Greek god mythology in ways that we haven't really seen before and tell a story that can pull on all the things that make that stuff great and do stuff that, like I said, you haven't seen, that creates something that feels original and fresh and just as epic as any of the other Greek epics that we've gotten. Like, it feels like it belongs amongst that pantheon of tales. And the way that it weaves itself into that fabric, like I said, allows it to pull on the strings of the gods and some of the stories that we know from the gods. This show in particular follows a bastard of Zeus's, Heron, as he kind of starts to discover who he is, what he's capable of, and how he can help basically stop the end of the world. It's this interesting story that involves elements like Zeus and Hera that kind of feel similar to the Hercules story. You know what I mean? Like, Hera gets real mad when she finds out Zeus is in love with a human woman and that she can confirm that he has indeed been cheating on her many times. And this show really shows you how terrifying it can be when you mess with a woman's scorn, man. Like, Hera, look, I get it, man. Like, she is somewhat in the right to be mad, but where she takes it is like apocalyptic, man. And it creates this interesting story where you get all the things that you like and hate about Zeus, and they don't let him off the hook for being a bad husband and somewhat bad guy. And at the same time, you're able to have Hera, who you can kind of understand where she's coming from, but she's kind of gotten off the deep end, and now you're in a situation that's like, well, this is way bigger than it should be. And Heron finds himself smack dab in the middle of all of this. And you kind of get, like I said, the story that has vibes of things that we've seen from the Greek mythos before. And when you insert the fact that he has a half-brother that's human, that's kind of become more than human, he's become like a demon, some of these original story elements that you can have, you're able to not only have this story that's pitting Zeus and Hera against each other, but you're able to pit Heron and his half-brother Seraphim against each other. And all four of these stories tie and weave into each other by the end, where you're like, oh damn, we are about to go into a massive epic. And that's exactly what the 8th and final episode is. It's 8 episodes, 25 to 35 minutes apiece. It rounds out to a wonderful 4-hour, what feels like a movie, like a 4-hour movie. And like I said, you're able to weave these stories to when you get to the 8th episode. It is the biggest. It is the most epic of all of them. And what's awesome too with the show, besides just the story and how it's able to weave some of these elements together in ways we haven't seen, that originality allows it to bring in a horror element where we have Titan-like creatures that we refer to as giants. The show kind of actually opens with telling us like where the gods came from, how they fought the Titans, and it kind of places the story right in the midst of all that and creates these giant characters that feel much like the Titans, where you get to a battle showdown in that 8th episode that feels something that's like all the best things and all the things that you've wanted out of a Clash of the Titans movie in this final like 30 minutes. And each episode gives a wonderful action payoff and a wonderful story beat that continues to move everything forward and pull you deeper and deeper into its own mythology. And the animation is gorgeous, man. Like, it is just wonderful to watch, Zeus use the lightning powers, or Hera with just all the crazy like telekinetic powers that she kind of has, and watching them fight is epic and wonderful. Or when they're fighting the giants, you get really, really cool sequences. Seraphim and Heron and Alexia, who is this badass female warrior that kind of crosses paths with Heron, and their story kind of weaves together as they bring us to that culminating battle. And weaving those 3 stories together is a lot of fun to kind of watch Seraphim and Heron and Alexia trying to position themselves to stop different things. And like I said, that horror element plays into Seraphim's storyline with these demons that kind of come from the giants, humans that ate the flesh of dead giants and became like these demons. And you're able to get these horror elements that you've never seen in Greek mythology before, but are able to be played with and added in a way where you're like, that was awesome to watch, like that fight sequence go down, or to see these creatures that are really terrifying, and how unrelenting, and there's just nothing that's going to stop these things except death. And you get these wonderful moments. And then the way the show is just able to play with things like lighting, where you can, be in one place and kind of have a green hue over here or a purple hue over here. And kind of adds to some of these psychedelic moments, where like some of these anime battles take place and you're just like, this is all so beautiful. I love it to death. And all of the credit on both of those fronts, the story and the animation, goes to 3 people. Our writers, Charlie and Vlas Pariapanides, maybe? I'm butchering these names. But Charlie and Vlas, I love their story. Like I said, it's something original and something that's built and feels like an epic worthy of being amongst the other, Greek epic tales that we have. And then director Shant Nagassian just does a wonderful job of bringing that story to life and giving us this imagery and these visuals that are so relatable to Greek mythology and so relatable to the anime form of animation and so unique to anything that I've kind of really watched in this area before. And you get something that feels epic and fresh. And like I said, the visuals are wonderful. I love all of Olympus, and the look and feel is just so spot on. And the same with the little town that's down at the bottom of the mountain, where all the regular humans are. And just the characters themselves feel authentic to Greek mythology. And the acting choices and the voice work by all of our actors is absolutely wonderful. Everybody buys in, everybody shows up to play, and everybody takes their roles really seriously. To end up where, for me, it just seems like all the voice work is perfect for the characters that they've been given. And none more so than Derek Phillips, who plays Heron. I think his voice work just suits that character perfectly. It carries the weight and responsibility that the character has, while also carrying the guilt and the anger and the sorrow that he kind of has to juggle throughout the whole story. And by the end, like I said, he feels like he's worthy to be a character that you talk about like you would Hercules or any of these other kind of demigod characters. And I just think he does an excellent job with it. His brother, Seraphim, voiced by Elias Tofexis, again, someone who just captures it. You can see him on the screen here. He's this interesting demon with horns and these powers, and he's got this sword spear thing that he uses. It's really scary, and he has this sweet. Him and Heron both have these flying creatures. Heron's on a griffin. I don't know what it is that Seraphin's on, but they're terrifying. And the design of the animation to each of the characters is just really, really cool. And Tofexis really embodies a lot of those scary kind of horror elements to Seraphin. And his voice and tone can get deep and brooding in a way that's just spot on for that character. And then you have Jessica Henwick, who plays Alexia, who, like I said, is just kind of smack dab in the middle of these two, brothers' stories. And she's this badass warrior, man. And Henwick carries the weight and the vibrato of someone who is a leader and can take charge and kick ass and is almost legendary in a sense where people know who she is, man, based on the stories that you've heard. And she carries all that quite well while also carrying this wonderful, not like it's a relationship type quality with Heron. They have no romantic relationship in the movie, and it's nice because it has those qualities, but it's not that overbearing thing where it's like, oh man, if they don't kiss or you don't get some kind of relationship beat for them, you feel let down. But you don't, because it doesn't go that far, but it has those qualities where the chemistry between Henwick and Phillips is just wonderful, and they're a really easy combo to root for. And then you have Jason O'Mara and Claudia Christian, who play Zeus and Hera, and both of them carried that kind of elegance and royal type tone to the power that they have, as like the king and queen, so to speak, of the gods. O'Mara has at times this kind of Ian McShane level. Not quite Ian McShane, but there were moments where they kind of reminded me. I was like, oh, that's almost Ian McShane-ish. And that's the type of weight you want to a voice like Zeus. So I think O'Mara crushes all that stuff. And Christian does a really nice job with Hera, man. She is... it breaks your heart when she finds out what's going on, and then you feel that immediate rage from her, and she is terrifying the whole movie. And pretty much anybody that shows up voice work wise does a wonderful job. And when you have really good voice work going on with this awesome story and beautiful animation, I mean, like I said, the depictions of these giants and these demons is wonderful and terrifying, and the depictions of the gods are just so spot on. I mean, Hermes might be my favorite thing in the whole show, animation wise. When he's running, he has this like kind of reflective shawl that's kind of rainbowy and translucent, and then when he runs, he kind of gets the same way, and it's just beautiful to watch that stuff. And all of those things added together just give me something that I think is really special and awesome right now. So if you're a fan of, like I said, Greek mythology, Castlevania, badass animation, go to Netflix. It dropped today. This is awesome. It'll be 4 hours that's well spent. I just put like one on just to get a taste before I was going to do work today, and then the next thing you know, 4 hours was gone. I was like, damn, that show was awesome. So I love season 1 of Blood of Zeus. I don't know if we'll get another season, but if we do, they set up some elements toward the end of the story that I'm like, yeah, I'd like to see us go down this rabbit hole too. So I'm a big fan, man. I'm all in for anything that comes, or if there's no more, just praising how great this one was. But now I want to know what you're thinking. Like I said, it dropped today. So most likely, if you haven't seen this, have I intrigued you? Has the show intrigued you? Is it something you're interested in? Are you a fan of Greek mythology or anime? Is this something that you think would be an interesting mixture to watch on television, or something that could work? Or does it just not interest you at all? And if you have watched Blood of Zeus, am I crazy? Or am I spot on? Like, this feels like a story that's epic enough to be considered like, this Greek god mythology type story. If you think that stuff works, the animation, the voice acting, the direction, the writing, anything you're thinking good, bad, or indifferent about Blood of Zeus, down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man anytime we're talking TV, movies, trailer reactions, Spooktober stuff. We got a little less than a week left in October, so we got to finish that countdown. And you haven't yet, and you want to come join the rest of C-Maniac Nation, jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema, sit down. I've been the C-Man, and I'm signing off. Peace. You guys are still here? You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. C-Man's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the C-Man goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down Squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.